The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And happy Friday, everyone. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, and we're coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MS Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our website's www.xzoneradio.com. And to watch, listen, and chat with the X-Zone Nation, www.xzonetv.com. And thanks to you, the members of the X-Zone Nation, we are growing. Our broadcast affiliates, no, when I say broadcast affiliates, I'm talking about AM radio stations, FM radio stations, satellite networks, as well as satellite subscribers and cable companies. I'm not talking about the internet here. I'm talking about bona fide broadcast networks across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, 24 Asian countries, and across Europe. On tonight's show, Dr. William Schneid will be joining me after our first break in a couple of minutes to discuss the Michael Jackson case, which now looks as if it's going to be changed from a accidental death to a homicide. And what does this mean for the investigation? Hour number 2, Omar Rosales joins me to talk about his new book, Elemental Shaman. And we're going to be talking about 2012. We're going to be talking about ghosts. We're going to be talking about UFOs. That's in hour number 2. Hour number 3 and 4, X-Zone Nation, is where you can participate. Rose Rosetree is going to be my guest. And if you would like to have your face read by Rose, all you have to do is send me your picture. A good picture, not a picture of you on top of a mountain or far off in the distance. We need a good picture of your face. And send it to xzone@talkstarradio.com. And what we will do is we will post it at www.xzone-radio.com/bubbles.htm. That's www.xzone-radio.com/bubbles.htm. And during the final 2 hours of the show, as Rose is reading the faces of those who have sent us their photographs, you'll be able to watch along. That's in our final 2 hours of tonight's show. And once again, to send me your picture, it's xzone@talkstarradio.com. It is July 17th, and on this date in history, in 1821, Spain officially gave Florida to the United States. In 1850, Harvard Observatory took its first picture of a star. On this date in 1938, Douglas Corrigan flew off in a plane from New York bound for Los Angeles and ended up in Ireland. I'm kidding. He ended up in Ireland. Disneyland opened in 1955 with 18 major attractions. Today there are more than 60 attractions in the park. When Disney opened, Anaheim had 5 hotels and 2 motels with a total of 87 rooms. There were 34 restaurants in the city. However, today Anaheim boasts approximately 150 hotels and motels with approximately 18,000 rooms and well over 450 restaurants. More than 400 million guests have passed through the gates of Disneyland Park since opening day in 1955. And at that time, it cost $17 million to build it. Now that's the price of your 3-day pass. And a whopping 70% of those surveyed say they'd visit Disneyland or Disney World. They just love it, and they do it again. When I come back from this 2-minute commercial break, Dr. William Schneid joins me. We're going to be talking about the Michael Jackson case, from accidental death to homicide, here on the X Zone, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away, X Zone Nation. We'll be right back. Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits, and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. This story is starting to remind me of a bad cucumber salad. It never goes away. We're talking about the Michael Jackson case, and now rumors are spreading wild that the case will be changed from an accidental death to a homicide. Now, joining me, as he has over the last couple of weeks to talk about this case, is Dr. William Schneid, and he's been actively involved in the field of law enforcement for over 40 years. His assignments have included Internal Affairs, Narcotics Task Force, as well as patrol and investigative duties. He taught at the Rio Hondo Regional Police Academy on officer survival and ethics. He has consulted with and been assigned to various federal agencies and task forces during the past 40 years. He has been regularly appointed by the Los Angeles County Superior and Municipal Court judges as an expert in alternative sentencing and narcotics. He has lectured on prison reform and was instrumental on aiding the movement of mentally ill inmates from the Los Angeles County Old Men's Central Jail to the new Twin Towers facility. He's regarded as a professional seeker of truth and holds no bias to either the defense nor the prosecution. He has been called upon by both sides for his expertise. He is the recipient of the Law Enforcement Medal of Honor and the Medal for Valor. He is certified by the State of California Peace Officer Standards and Training Bureau through supervisory level. He received his Ph.D. in 1994 with dual majors in criminology and psychology, graduating summa cum laude in his bachelor's, master's, and Ph.D. He has testified in court as an expert in narcotics, the penal system, and alternative sentencing, and is credited with over 3,500 arrests during his career in law enforcement. He has testified as an expert in excess of 300 cases. The majority of the cases have been criminal in nature. Dr. Schneid is an authority on negligent hiring prevention and is an expert in profiling, threat assessment, risk analysis, and terrorism. He is currently the Director of Special Operations for Apex Strategic Investigations Group, a licensed international private investigations firm in Los Angeles County, and their website is www.worldfind.biz. That's www.worldfind.biz. And Dr. Schneid, welcome back to the X-Zone. How are you, Bill?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. How are things in beautiful California?
Hot.
Ah.
It is warm. Hey, a piece of trivia to add to your Disney story.
Okay.
He had to go to hundreds of banks that all turned him down as being insane with his investment to Disneyland, because at the time the area was nothing but strawberry fields, basically.
Boy, I bet you those banks feel silly when they look back now.
Hey, 1,200 restaurants turned down Colonel Sanders, thinking his recipe wouldn't work.
Oh, boy. Well, when anybody ever calls me a Mickey Mouse operation, I just put a big smile on my face and say thank you.
And wear those ears.
Under my headphones.
Right.
Bill, the Michael Jackson case, as I said, is just like a bad cucumber salad. Won't go away.
Or for our Australians, it's like a boomerang. It just keeps coming back.
Bill, what's the latest story pertaining to the Jackson case? Is it going to be opened and investigated as a homicide, or are they going to leave him rest in peace?
No, it's going to it's going to remain open. Remember that a homicide is not necessarily a murder. Homicide simply means death at the hands of another. So you would legitimately assume. I mean, if it wasn't that, it would either be death by natural causes or suicide. So if we presume that A and B isn't correct, we're left with a homicide, meaning, whoever, again, the toxicology report isn't back, but if we presume that it's going to show a lethal drug injection, somebody gave it to him. So that would be, again, death at the hands of another, which would make it murder. Now, or make it homicide. Murder would be a horse of a different color, because I don't think anybody giving him that injection would be would do it with the intent to kill him. Although, again, conspiracy theorists are going to come back and say, well, isn't it a fact that the insurance company for the production company of the London production had his life insured for $17 million only in case of a drug overdose, and didn't insure his death for any other reason. So, I mean, there's certainly enough grist for the speculative mill as to, who could have benefited by his death and why did these oddball things happen at the time they did.
But the amount of $17 million isn't nearly close to what he would have made for those 50 concerts. So why is everybody focusing on the number 17 million?
Well, first, I don't know how they came up with the 17 million. It may well have been simply a limit that Lloyd's had put down, as this is, the maximum we're willing to issue. So it could be, as simple as that. Conversely, the production company is now marketing the T-shirts that would have been sold at the concert, along with other memorabilia, and I assume we'll see a DVD of his rehearsals, and that will be available again through that production company. So there's a lot of profiteering yet to be made off of the non-concert concert.
CNN was showing yesterday his Pepsi commercial in which his hair caught on fire. Like, why does this have to go on? I know it's sensationalism, and sensationalism what the public wants more than they really want down-to-earth news, because 9 times out of 10, down-to-earth news is rather boring compared to the sensationalistic stuff that's on the air these days. But
well, remember, that's the excuse that's been proffered as to how he became addicted to drugs, that he had second and third degree burns to his scalp as a result of that Pepsi commercial burnout.
Yeah. Another thing that we found out, that Joe Jackson is trying to put a tour together now of the 3 Jackson children called the Jackson 3. And apparently Mrs. Jackson, Michael Jackson's mom, is dead set against it, and hats off to her.
Well, Joe Jackson was excluded from the will for a reason, I'm sure. And, it was alleged that he was abusive to Michael during his childhood, and very demanding and autocratic as a father. Again, when Michael Jackson broke out from the Jackson 5 and began his own stellar career, they would have been nothing, and were basically nothing after Michael started his own gig. So anybody who could hang on to his coattails would benefit from one degree or another. Certainly, his parents would have.
1-877-528-8255 is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. Our website's www.xzoneradio.com, and you can watch, listen, and chat with us at xzonetv.com. Don't forget, if you'd like to have your face read by Rose Tree, who's going to be with us in the final 2 hours of tonight's show, send your picture to me, just as Larry did a few minutes ago, to xzone@talkstarradio.com. Bill, Tuesday night I had a gentleman on the show who claimed that he was Jesus Christ. And he said many things that were so far off base, it took everything I had to keep it going for 2 hours without just laughing my head off and slamming the phone on him. The intelligence community, as he described it, made no sense. And you've been part of the intelligence community, you've been part of law enforcement for 40 years now. And could you tell us how the intelligence agency works without violating any security?
Well, intelligence is exactly what the word implies, and that's the gathering of information for logistical, tactical, statistical purposes. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative. The CIA puts out the World Fact Book that you can Google online and see statistics about every country in the world, more statistical information than you could ever dream of wanting. So that's what we call the open side of or open source intelligence. Then you have the dark side, which is the kind of underbelly of intelligence, where it's used for more military and governmental strategists to make decisions as to what other governments or other individuals are up to. But in any case, nobody having worked for the CIA or I believe in Canada it's CSIS?
CSIS, that's right.
That would ever acknowledge being part of those groups. First of all, you have a secrecy level clearance and you have a prohibition against talking about anything that you've done or anything that you've seen. And
Bill, stand by. You and I have to take our commercial break at the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. A fourth suspect arrested in the killing of Gulf Coast couple. There you go. A fourth suspect has been arrested in the shooting deaths of a Gulf Coast couple known for adopting special needs children, authorities said. Gary Lamont Sumner faces a charge of murder for his alleged role in the deaths of Bird and Melanie Billings on Thursday in Escambia County, Florida, Sheriff David Morgan said. This case, Bill, is one of these cases that everybody is still scratching their head looking for a motive. And I was wondering if you had any insight into this case.
We have absolutely no idea. As a profiler, I know it's been batted around through several of our groups as to what his motive could conceivably have been, since there was no connection at any time between him and them. And, these were just loving people who had adopted, I believe, all but two of their children, and these were special need children. I mean, these weren't wealthy people. These weren't. We just don't know. There was no burglary. There was no taking of anything. We have no idea what this guy's motive is.
It is truly crazy. This is the latest report that we were able to find. 7 suspects in the robbery and shooting deaths of Bird and Melanie Billings in their Florida home last week are all being held without bond on open counts of murder. 4 suspects appeared in court Wednesday. Frederick Thornton Jr., 19 years old, Gary Lamont Sumner, 30 years old, Leonard Patrick Gonzalez, Sr., 56 years old, made their first appearances before Escambia County Judge Thomas Johnson, who ordered them to remain jailed without bond. Gonzalez was being held on a $500,000 bond on a tampering with evidence charge, but the charge was upgraded to 2 open counts of murder. Rakeem Cheney, Florence, 16, made his initial appearance in juvenile court before Circuit Judge Ross Goodman. Florence is being held in the Juvenile Detention Center. 2 others, Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Jr. of Gulf Breeze and Thomas Wayne Calderon, 41, have previously been ordered held without bond. Now, I understand that there is some question about a safe that has not been found yet.
Right. This was a well-organized heist in which it was basically a home invasion robbery.
Mm-hmm.
It was captured by many television cameras that were mounted around the house. These folks had to have had a lot of inside information because they were in and out of that house, including the safe, in approximately 5 minutes. So they knew what they were looking for, they knew what they were going to do, and this was certainly a well-orchestrated conspiracy.
But one has to wonder, what could be so important in a home that has all these special needs children that would warrant such an organized home invasion?
We don't know what information they had or what theory they had that might have been in the safe that would have provoked them to do such a heinous job, crime. I mean, it makes no sense. But as I said, only they know what drove them to be motivated to do that. The couple certainly was not ignorant enough to have that kind of money laying around, and didn't have some huge sum of money in the bank account. So to risk a whole slew of people going to prison for murder or being executed under the death penalty, at the moment, I don't have an answer for you.
Bill, is there any set profile for a person who does a home does a home invasion as a criminal offense?
Usually, they're particularly dangerous because your typical burglar, goes into a place when nobody's around. Mm-hmm. When you have what's called a hot burglar, or one who goes into the house at night and the occupants are there, those people are dangerous because obviously there's a greater chance for them having their identity compromised or one of the homeowners arming themselves and causing them harm. So those kinds of folks, are much more dangerous, and the police more aggressively go after them because of that. We have that. We have that on a regular basis. These shootings and home invasion. Home invasion is kind of an interesting crime because among the Asian communities within the United States, there is an inherent fear of the police, and many home invasion robberies occur without them being reported to the police because, just historically from their country of origin, they've always feared the police, and these local gangs take advantage of that fear.
What can people do what's the word? What can they do to discourage people from, committing home invasions on their property? Well,
I found that a moat with piranha that haven't been fed in a while is a deterrent. But seriously, there really isn't. Surely having an alarm system, which is a very cheap investment. You leave the house for a few minutes, you go out to dinner, you go to the theater. It's just nice to know that your house is protected against burglars or against fire. And certainly when you go to sleep, it's comforting to know that your whole perimeter is as well protected against an invasion or against fire or carbon monoxide. Any of the things that can threaten your safety or your life. And burglars, let's face it, tend to stay away from those houses that have those signs that say protected by XYZ security company.
Now, in today's technological world, Bill, isn't it easy for the criminals to knock out an alarm system?
Well, it is easy because all alarm systems function off of your telephone line. So if there's a compromise to the perimeter or to any of the sensors, the transmission goes by the telephone line. Conversely, the alarm companies are smart enough to put in a backup system, which is done by radio transmission, or what you might commonly refer to like a cellular phone. So if they did cut the wires, the very fact that the wire got cut to the landline then activates the secondary backup system, which is done wirelessly.
1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My name is Rob McConnell. Dr. Bill Schneid is our special guest. His website is www.worldfind.biz, www.worldfind.biz. One of our listeners would like to know, Bill, what people can do to avoid identity theft.
I think we had a show on identity theft not too long ago. Basically, one of the simplest things to do is always have possession of your credit card or any of your identity that you have. I don't give out any information over the phone having to do with people who call for various bogus reasons, telemarketers, that kind of thing. Don't fill out, and I repeat this, don't fill out these warranty cards that ask for all of this personal information. All you need to do is maintain a copy of your receipt. There's no requirement that you send in some warranty card with all the information that they're asking for. They use that for secondary marketing purposes, and that also has all your identity on it. And finally, make sure that you watch your waiter, whoever has possession of your card, because they can swipe that card through portable readers. I check all my credit cards online. You can access all your credit information for every transaction online and jump on top of it. That's about it. It's just being highly precautious on what information you give out. Even when you go to a doctor's office and the doctor's office asks for your driver's license number, they don't need that. They don't need. The only thing they need, well, in the States anyway, is a Social Security number, and that's because of insurance reasons. But they certainly don't need your driver's license number. Where it asks for employer, I leave that blank. I put retired. That has no bearing on what I do for why I'm seeing a doctor or dentist. So the less information that you give, the better. If you're going to have a magazine subscription, as an example, have it sent to a mailbox, such as either a mail drop, one of these private mail places, or have it sent to a P.O. box. But don't have it sent to your home. Minimize the amount of mail that gets sent to your house. That's probably the singular best advice I can give. Minimize who knows your home address publicly.
As well as minimize the information that you so freely give out, because people just give out any information that somebody asks for, and it seems as that people don't realize how much information can be acquired on them just by the very little information that the person on the other end of the line is asking for.
There's a public database that I wish we could put out of business that we can't, but your listeners are certainly welcome to look at it. It's called Zaba Search. Z is in zebra, A, B is in boy, A, search, all one word, zabasearch.com. And 9 out of 10 of your listeners that put their name in that are within the United States will find their name there or the name of a relative of theirs. And there's nothing that we can do because we have no public law against that. It's like me possessing a check out of your checkbook. There's nothing illegal about that until I decide to forge your signature.
Yeah.
So their argument is that they've obtained all this information through subscriptions, warranty cards, all kinds of sources, and it's here for anybody, to look at. And in some cases, they have your date of birth, they have your phone number, they have your address, of course. They have more info. We ran 750 FBI agents out of the Los Angeles office through that database, and half of them came up in there.
Showing them as FBI agents?
Well, no.
Oh.
It doesn't show your occupation, but certainly if you knew somebody was an FBI agent, or you wanted to know their address for some nefarious reason, you could plug their name in there, and assuming it's not a common name, up it'll come.
Right.
So it's we just have too much data out there, and see, the thing that's interesting is when a bank loses information or gets hacked, you'll never hear it, and banks don't want to report that to the FBI, because then it becomes public information, then people become nervous about that bank. So there's never been a bank reporting the theft of identity information.
Bill, stand by. We've got to take our final break. www.worldfind.biz is the website for Dr. William Schneid, and we'll be back on the other side of this break right here on Talkstar.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
19 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world.
One 877-528-8255 is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone. Hour number 3 and 4, Rose Rosetree is going to be with us doing face reading, and if you'd like to have your face read, or blue, or green, or whatever color, if you'd like to have your face read, send me your photo, and we'll add it to our growing list at www.xzone.com. No, it's www.xzone-radio.com/bubbles.htm. That's www.xzone-radio.com/bubbles.htm. Dr. William Schneid is our special guest, www.worldfind.biz. And Bill, another listener would like to know how Homeland Security has found it now that Canadians coming into the U.S. require their passports.
I was going back to having my face read, and I thought last time that happened, I blushed. Anyway, and in answer to your privacy question, I remember early on when I was an early guest and your producer called, I said, "Are you one of these people trying to sell me Florida orange juice? Goodbye." And he called back again. He says, "No, this is for Rob McConnell." And I went, "Oh, okay." So, I'm just as paranoid as everybody else is. Okay, to your listeners' questions, enough of this levity.
But I like levity.
I do, too. Every time I can raise off the floor, I feel better.
Jeez. You're in rare form tonight, my friend.
Hey, I can play ping pong with you any day.
As if we don't do that enough during the week, eh?
No.
Oh, heavens. Yeah, so with the passport laws in effect, is Homeland Security finding it easier and much more secure, so to speak?
Well, it's much more efficient because people's entry and exits are scanned into major computer databases, so we know their comings and goings, and we also know who's on the do not admit list. We also know who has warrants, so it's able to stop many of the people that would normally just get into our country. Certainly, it's still like putting your finger in a dike, though.
Tell me, Bill, how does one get on the do not admit list?
Sometimes merely a misspelling. Certainly people with Middle Eastern names have big problems. If you're a known felon from a neighboring country, you're added to that list. There's a lot of criteria, some of which I can't discuss, but there's a lot of criteria that will put somebody on the list. And many times these people are totally innocent of anything. It just coincidentally, their name matches the name of somebody who's on that list, and they have a miserable time trying to fly or trying to get in and out of the country.
Bill, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. As always, it's great having you on the show. Take care of yourself, be safe, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone to play some more ping pong.
No problem, and I'm going to send a picture and see what she thinks of my dog.
You got it.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Bill. Dr. William Schneid is our in-house criminologist and law enforcement expert here on the X Zone. www.worldfind.biz. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news. We're going to be talking to Omar Rosales about elemental shaman right here on the X Zone, live and around the world on Talkstar.